listening to The Burn. Gaming stuff, blazing fast.
Welcome to a new episode of The Burn, podcast about gaming done blazing fast. I'm Aviv Manoach.
And I am Omer Kaplan. Hello, how are you?
I'm doing well, what's up?
You know, just living in here in the suburbs of the Midwest. Very nice and relaxed place. Nothing much. Less masking going around as people getting vaccinated, which is always nice. But yeah, that's pretty relaxed. How about you? Got more action a little bit.
Like compared to the rest of the country, I'm a bit like you. I live in this, well, basically middle of nowhere, but let's call it a suburb. Nothing happens here as long as I'm staying within the confines of our communities. Everything is fine. We don't get anything related to the public situation here, so I'm fine.
And you're working from home, and yeah, and so it's perfect time to stay home, do some work, and play games, which is the best combo.
Yes, exactly. Although over the last week, I've played more mobile games than anything else.
That's interesting.
Yeah, we had a holiday this past couple of days, and yesterday, literally, I was lying on the couch half of the day, swiping on my phone.
So that's interesting. Okay, let's talk about it for a second. So you have a Switch.
I have a Switch, I have a PlayStation, I have a PC, and I have a phone.
Also, so what did you play on mobile?
I play 3 things. Only one of them is an actual game. The 2 of them, one is totally not a game. It's called Idle Museum Tycoon. It's an idle game. In its core is basically watch ads all day. But I wanted to see if the game actually has any game in it. If you remove the ads, so I paid them the equivalent of $10, something like that. To remove all the ads, and yeah, it became an actual idle game, and it's not a bad idle game. It's not a remarkable one as well. So,
idle games are the best. I mean, there's 2. So when I play on mobile, what I usually don't, because I don't even know where my phone is right now. But I usually play 2 types of games. One is those idle games, and the other one is those match 3 games that have a quote unquote story behind them.
Yes, exactly. So that's the actual game that I played. I play Homescapes. It's half. It's not half. It's a match 3 games that has a story and a quote unquote management game behind it. It's by a company called Playtrix. They have a bunch of those. Each of them you manage a different thing. So the first that I played of them is called Gardenscapes, and in that you created a garden, and in Homescapes you renovating the house of your family. And I have a new one called Farmscapes, but that is no longer match 3. It's a puppet game. So you have the same board of colors, but you click to pop chains of the same color.
Good. Yeah.
I like it less, so I stopped playing that. And I went back to Homescapes. So that's the game that I'm playing. I actually paid them money as well. I played the equivalent of $4, something like that, for their season pass thing. They have a season pass thing that works the same as any other season pass. You have you get medals, and if you don't pay, you get just the normal prizes. But if you pay, you get the extra prizes. And part of getting the season pass is also getting more lives and stuff. So I wanted to play for a long time, as a long period of stretch of the day. So I paid the $4 or something. and I played a lot of it, and I'm happy. Well, like, $4 for what I played. I think it's like 6 hours straight yesterday, which you don't supposed to do with mobile games. But yeah, the only qualm I have with them is that after you pay the season pass, you get like a 3-minute long cutscene of things happening in the game, and it's like, people, I pay in order to stop interruptions. That's the thing with mobile games. You don't want to interrupt the gameplay, so you pay a bit. But then you throw me into a cutscene because of your like story of the season pass. Who cares?
Nobody cares.
Yeah, and
No, I was just about to say that's interesting how, mobile devices today can basically, they have like the graphic like capacity and like processing capacity of like a small computer, and they can run like really awesome games, but we ended up playing, one of those like really basic pastime idle games.
Oh, that's because when I get to play on my phone, I don't want to play a like full featured game. I have consoles for that.
Yeah.
And the final game I play, which is also half an idle game, is called AFK Arena. It's as the name suggests, AFK. It's parts an idle game it's part of gacha game. You collect heroes, you advance in dungeons and battles and stuff, and you can play those battles with decision making, but you do it on auto. You put it on auto, and then you play until you can't beat levels anymore, and then you put the phone down and you wait for you to get the XP and money from the auto grinder that the game has. In that game, I still haven't got to the point where I will want to pay to increase the pace or anything. I find that for me, and I know that gacha games work a lot differently for a lot of people, but for me, I tend to not get into the buying things for gacha games because I'm satisfied with the pacing that they give me things. So we talked about Genshin Impact, for example, and a lot of people spend a lot of money on Genshin Impact, and for the time I was in it, I didn't feel any need to pay anything in that game. And I think, and I mentioned it, if I did pay for that game, I would have paid for the battle pass as well, the season pass, to get the extra reward. Because
I think
go ahead.
I think what's nice about Genshin Impact is that they made the characters so nice and the game itself is so polished that I don't feel the need to pay extra on top of it to maybe get like, I don't know, the extra experience. But it's like so nice that it is. By the way, they're launching, I don't know if you still follow the news, they're launching a new hero or character, whatever the name is, and her name is Yula, like literally Yula, Yula. So it's going to be interesting. Like her superpower is going to be using long contractual language.
Okay.
No, just kidding. Because she's Yula. It's too early.
I understand.
Now,
it wasn't funny. I understand the joke.
I'm sorry. Okay, well, that was the episode. Thank you so much, everybody. I'm just going to...
But the only thing I wanted from the battle pass in Genshin Impact is the XP items to level my characters faster. Other than that, I didn't want to buy anything in that game.
Sorry, I didn't recover yet from your terrible shutdown for my great Yula comment. All right.
Yes, it wasn't great. Let's move on to the main game of the show, and that's Yakuza Like a Dragon. I think it's available only on PlayStation right now. I don't remember.
I think so.
Yeah, I think so. It has both a PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 versions, and I'm on a 5. So let's talk background. Yakuza is a long-running series of games which are basically Japanese soap opera in the form of games. Like a Dragon is the 8th installment in the series. there is technically Yakuza 0 through 6. 1 through 6 were the originals, then 0 came out, which is a prequel to all the rest, and then Like a Dragon came out, which is it's not a reboot, but it's sort of like a spin-off of the same universe. It's like Buffy, it's like Angel continuing on after Buffy or something like that, although even more than that, because the characters are all different. But what they wanted to do with Like a Dragon, and that's the reason they also changed the name from Yakuza 7 to Yakuza Like a Dragon, is give people a clean start into the series. So you start. There is a whole new protagonist after the first 7 games had the same protagonist. You move from the main city of the original games to a new location, stuff like that. They also changed the major feature of the game, which is the combat from real-time brawler to a turn-based JRPG. Now, that change, I don't know if the decision was like, yeah, we want a new battle system, let's build the entire parody around it, or the other way around, they wanted to parody the genre first or whatever. But as much as Yakuza is Japanese soap opera, Like a Dragon is basically a game parody. It's a game that parodies the genre that it itself is part of, a bit like South Park: The Stick of Truth, which did it marvelously as well. And it takes a bunch of tropes of JRPGs and just make fun of them in all sorts of ways. So it's a modern day, current day game, right? You are in Japan in whatever year. This is actually, there is a time skip of 20 years. I think 20 or 12, something like that, maybe 12. So you start exactly, 20 years or 19 years, because they need to jump to the current present, the present day, and the game starts in the turn of the century, which the game correctly put it in the change between 2000 and 2001. People get it wrong all the time. The actual millennium starts in 2001, not in 2000.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So the game starts there, and it's very contemporary to its time. And then your protagonist goes to jail for 18 years or something like that, and you come back in the present day, more or less. The game was released in Japan like a year before it released in the West, as always. So you are in 2019 or something, and the protagonist, because of this time skip, they did like a thing where he doesn't know anything. Like being in prison is being cut off from the rest of the world altogether. So he doesn't know what a smartphone is, and people need to explain to him stuff like that. And that's also their excuse for changing the entire structure of the game and movie city and stuff. And then I kind of lost my train of thought, but what I want to say is that, I remembered. It's a contemporary game, but they needed an excuse to be a JRPG. And how do you do a JRPG with skills and magic and monsters and stuff in a contemporary settings without any of those? It's not like Yakuza is an urban fantasy game. It's not. It's normal, modern game without anything special in it. So they have this whole meta plot of the protagonist always wanted to be a hero, and he liked Dragon Quest as a kid, and he played it, and he always wanted to be a hero like in the Dragon Quest game. And so he starts to imagine all the things that happens to him in the context of a JRPG. So it's a JRPG inside a JRPG. It's an Inception game.
Oh, yeah, and that's good. So I wonder if they have to like license the Dragon Quest thing, or they just like
No,
told the developers,
mentioning the name of a game is not licensable. It's just a reference. It's not like they are using any of it. But also, it's this is published by Sega, and maybe it's the same publisher. Let's check that. That may be the thing.
Check that. So I don't have the ability to play this game, but like I was very interested because I never liked. So I played with Yakuza. I played I think 3 and then 0, and then so it's kind of like all over the place. So I didn't really follow the story. But this game I was very interested in because I wanted to clean, start into the series, and B, I like the turn-based combat.
Yeah.
And the way the turn-based combat work, now that you say Dragon Quest, it really makes a lot of sense because it's kind of like, if you look at the latest Dragon Quest, it really reminds me of kind of like the camera angles, and it's like almost real time, but it's not really real time.
It's not real time at all. The game is kind of fooling you. By the way, the Dragon Quest is Square Enix and Yakuza is Sega, so not the same publisher. But as you say, the combat, the way they trick you is that in most JRPG, you move from the overworld or the dungeon map into a battle screen, which is completely different. Pokemon does it famously. Final Fantasy has it. Everyone has it. But in Yakuza, the combat takes place in the same map. You walk around in the city and you encounter enemies, and the combat will start in the city, and the characters will run around to get into positions and stuff. So it tricks you to think it's real time, but it's fully turn-based. There are some elements that change because you are in like a completely dynamic setting. It's not like in normal JRPG where one side is the enemies and one side is the heroes, like in Steam Quest, for example. You are all mixed up in there. So, and if you try to attack someone that is far away from you, the other enemies will block you and prevent your attack. So that's something that you need to take into consideration, although that doesn't apply to special attacks. Some of the stuff that are parodies also of Pokemon. In one point in the game, you run into like a drunken person and you beat them, and it's like a special enemy, and then a professor with a white robe come to you and explain to you that this is a special type of very bad and degenerate person that terrorize society, and you need to battle all of them in order to collect data in the research encyclopedia. And those degenerate people are called Sujimon, and you need to find and battle all the Sujimon in the city in order to complete the encyclopedia.
That sounds like a full on, like they really leading into the parody.
Totally. At the same time, when they introduce you to the Sujimon, you have like a test combat, and you need to choose between the red, green, and blue Sujimons to fight. So yeah, it's full on parody. The other thing they parody heavily is the JRPG summoning thing. So in one side quest, you get a flyer for Pound Masters, and you are sure it's like a sex store kind of thing. So you ordered the Pound Master, and when you found out it's like a big beefy guy that is going to help you fight. So that's the first summon you get. The second summon you get, and that's through like dialogue choices. I had a side mission where you heard a crying baby and you wanted to help someone bring them food, but when you brought the food, you found out it wasn't a crying baby. it was a Yakuza fetish club with the Yakuza members dressed in diapers and crying.
Oh my gosh.
So that is full Japanese. And then if you pick the right dialogue choices with the Yakuza boss and decide to drink the baby formula with them, you get him as a summon as well. So that was great.
This game sounds like I want like half of the stuff they took while designing this game, but it sounds so great, like it's so,
So yeah, it's a Japanese
niche of like serious
exactly
game I've been playing lately, so it's great.
It's a Japanese soap opera that is also a parody of JRPGs. It's everything you want in a game. Now, I will say the downside of it is that this game and the whole series, that's a thing of this series, it takes ages to start doing things. So I'm 10 hours in. I don't have the crafting system yet. I don't have the club management side yet. I don't have a lot of things. Like, they only give you stores and equipment after 6 hours. They only give you the first party member after 4. So it's like we talked about that in Persona 5. Persona 5 takes like 4 hours to start doing things, but you actually do more things in those 4 hours than Yakuza. The first 4 hours of Yakuza is only cutscenes and a bit of walking. So if you don't like a slow burning games, this is not for you. You should expect to turn on this game and sit there and watch a soap opera that for every 15 minutes will ask you to do something. And then there will be another episode of the soap opera.
So it's not like it's a good mix between if you really like the series, it's for you. If you don't, maybe survive the first 10 hours and then maybe stuff will happen.
I didn't play any of those games before. I only heard about them. I watched an almost full playthrough of Judgment, which is another game by the same studio, which is a true spin-off. Like, it's not this part of the actual series, but it takes place in the same world. And it has different like mechanics and stuff. So I didn't know a lot about these games besides the fact that it's over the top and there's a lot of mini games and stuff. But I wanted to try Like a Dragon because of the JRPG combat, which I really like. And because I'm a veteran of Persona, sitting through the first, like, I don't know how many hours of the game and just watching it wasn't that bad for me. Also, it's good content. I'm not saying it like you will sit in front of cutscenes and be bored. It is good content. It's good writing. It's fun. It's enjoyable. So it can be a hit or miss for some people, but I like it. I like this game a lot. I didn't spend as much time as I wanted playing it over the last week or so, but I'm really looking forward to getting back into it. There was some dark stuff in some of the stories, and then there is some light stuff and some weird Japanese stuff, and overall, really like a solid all-round experience. You get a lot out of this game.
Everything you said sounds like great. It's kind of like a nice break from like ton of like serious games that I've been playing lately. Do you think you're gonna finish it all the way through?
I think so. So far, it looks like it. It depends how much time it will really take until they open up all of the other options. I'm watching a stream of someone that by the levels her characters are, she's not a lot ahead of me. I'm at level 14 and she's in level 17, and she has 2 more characters in her party. And she already has the club management game. So I hope that in like 2 hours of extra playtime, I will get like more people in my party and more stuff to do and things like that. So if that's the case, I think I will get a lot more into this game. But we'll see.
Sounds good. No, it sounds great.
Yeah. Cool. So let's move on to news. You had some items to talk about.
Yeah. So, yep, I have. So I brought two. So it was kind of like a slow news week. And was seriously debating on just talking about one of the games I've been playing. So I've been playing Vanquish, by the way, after you recommended
Oh,
it.
how do you like that?
So it's super. So when you compare it to the game we spoke of in the last episode, Bulletstorm, it's much more high pace. It's more punishing in the sense of you can't really like go all in behind enemy lines and do things, and it's much more let's say it's more mechanically demanding, but the setting is cool. Like, I think very similar to what we just talked about. The story itself doesn't take itself too seriously. Everything is full of cliches and kind of like maybe I don't know if the studio is I don't know who the studio is.
Well, it's Platinum. We talked about it.
Is it Sega? I think it's Sega, right? Sega is the publisher.
Maybe the publisher, but the studio it's Platinum. We talked about it. The people behind Bayonetta and Nier Automata and all of those games.
So it's basically how like that studio perceive like Western like army and the Marines and like this like the military tradition and culture. So it's like full of like big bros in armor and like everybody's like talking about cliches and come on apes, you want to live forever, kind of like stuff like that. So it's kind of funny, but yeah, I mean, game is super fine. The bullet time, like slow speed thingies are fun, and music is nice. So yeah, I've been enjoying it. I'm progressing slowly through the story, and it's fun. So,
to that point, there is an old video from Extra Credit about the myth of the gun and how Japanese developers view weapons versus American ones. So it's kind of it's a good video to watch, because if you look at Japanese games, so like Mega Man and Vanquish and all of those, guns are like extension of the self in Japanese games, same as like a katana. While in American games they are just tools.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and it's interesting specifically in the case of Vanquish, because in Vanquish you play like, as you said, it's like we said, the super future, but it's it's super future Cold War America versus Russia thing. But it's through the eyes of Japanese game developers.
Exactly. So it's very much like influenced by Cold War as it was like represented in Hollywood.
Right.
So it's a lot about like everything is very like characteristic of what you've seen in those movies.
It's Hollywood, Cold War through the eyes of Japanese game developers.
Exactly, and gunplay is fun, and like the mechanic is fun, and the boss fights are over the top as you would expect.
Okay, so we talked about Vanquish, and we don't have time for now.
Okay, we'll get to that maybe next episode or something else.
2 minutes. You have 2 minutes if you want to talk about something.
2 minutes. Let's go. Let's do. So first of all, saw a trailer for Super Mario Golf. I'm heavily disappointed I couldn't get my hands on the Mario Tennis game, but now they're giving me Mario Golf game with, they're really milking it, but I know it's going to be great. I know it's going to be like a great game.
What do you mean? What do you mean you couldn't get the tennis games? It's not available?
Because it's available, but it's $60. So
okay, and the golf won't be $60 like all Nintendo games?
I know, so I'm just going to sit. I'm going to sit and wait until there's a sale that's going to be more affordable.
Yeah, maybe they will do like a Mario Sports bundle and let you buy both of them.
I'm counting on the Olympics because they also have an Olympics game. So maybe towards the Olympics, something will happen. So
maybe.
So there's that. Another thing that happened was that Ubisoft had their yearly earning calls this year, and they said that they want to focus on. Okay, so that's kind of complex. They want to focus on free-to-play premium games. So they said we're going to create one for all our franchises. So I wonder how that's going to work. So, are we going to see more Genshin Impact? Are we going to see more like traditional games going free-to-play, like Destiny styles with more like expansions as a DLC? So it's going to be... I'm intrigued by like how because I value their like open world, be able to create open worlds very much. So
I think the example you needed here is the Division, which is the actual like game as a service Ubisoft is running.
Oh yeah, and I love the Division. I played all the expansions, and the question is like, do I want every game to be the Division? I'm not like, do I want?
I don't think they will make every game the Division as we saw with Phoenix, for example. They are willing to do new things. I don't know. It's a case by case basis for me. I don't mind the business model, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, like listen, if they use like the Division like type of games to fuel like other like great experiments like Phoenix, then it's fine by me.
Yeah.
So I'll take it.
Yeah. I could see. I didn't read the article, but I see for the title, and it just starts me thinking. I can see like a multi-year Assassin's Creed game that have campaigns in it. So we don't like buy the newest Assassin's Creed, but we have the same character, which will be probably the modern day character. Assassin's Creed is basically built for it because you have the modern day characters which can jump into different campaigns. It's perfect.
Yes. They also mentioned the pirate game that was supposed to come out.
Right, Skulls and Bones.
Skull and Bones. Yeah. And I haven't played.
It got delayed by like 3 years or something.
So maybe that's gonna be like the first major experiment. I mean, I haven't played a good pirate game yet, so I'm excited for that. It's gonna be interesting.
Cool. Excellent.
All right. Cool. So that's those are my 2 minutes of glory.
Awesome. Very, very good glory. So this is all what we have on the show today. Thank you for listening. You can find us online on Twitter. I'm at Icel and Omer is at Omer Kaplan. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, comment, and leave your reviews on your preferred listening app. You can find all the links and previous episode at theburn.live. And our opening theme was created by Andorko with vocals by Fishy Twitch, both on Twitter as well. That's it. Thank you, Omer.
Thank you for having me.
And we'll be here next time. Bye-bye.
See ya.